What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
So I've been binge watching Breaking Bad recently, and I'll probably talk about it in an upcoming episode. But there was a day I was, a few days ago. I switched up my cannabis consumption. I talked about it last week on an episode where I'm vaping now. I'm getting little vape cartridges for weed, and just changing things up, and kind of. And it's nice. It's nice. It's easy. I found a place. Shout out to Green Heart Delivery out in Palm Springs area. Great prices. Great prices on edibles also. So it's a day, and I'm binging Breaking Bad. I'm almost out of weed in my current cartridge, so I'm going to order a new vape cartridge. And they have a minimum, a $40 minimum for the delivery, and the vape cartridges are $35. So I get a $5 edible to round out the total so I can get this delivery done. And I decide they have 250 milligram watermelon palons, which are they look like little mini, fat syringes. Like they're short. It's Mexican candy. It's short, and it's a little syringe. And when you push it, on the top is like a little grated opening, and the candy comes out almost like Play-Doh when it would come out of those things where you'd push it and it just kind of come out. So you get these little strands of like this jelly Mexican candy that was full of weed. And it was small, too. It was one of the smallest little pelons I have ever seen in my entire life, especially to have 250 milligrams. And it's been a while since I've had an edible that really hit me. Probably in Denver, I had a few 100 milligram candy bars that would hit me. And then before Denver, 3-4 years ago, when I was in the desert for a period before Denver, I would get little 200 milligram candies, which I would blast off. So this one, I'm getting 250. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to eat the whole thing. I'm watching Breaking Bad. One of my favorite things to do is eat an edible and watch a movie or watch something that's intense. Watching, for instance, an example, watch Captain Phillips, the movie with Tom Hanks, where he's a cargo ship, sailor guy, captain. And it's a movie where his ship is trying to be taken over by Somali pirates. Watch that movie on an edible, and it will be the most intense experience you will have in a very long time. Or you can pop an edible, and coincidentally, pop an edible probably around episode 10, season 2 of Breaking Bad. So that way, by the time season 12 or episode 12 of season 2 comes around, the edible's kicking in. And this episode, if you've seen Breaking Bad, then you know. If you haven't, there are spoilers coming up for season 2, episode 12 of Breaking Bad. And Breaking Bad, for those that don't know, chemistry high school teacher gets cancer, can't afford it because American, medical insurance and healthcare in America is pretty dog shit. So the only way this teacher can afford to pay for his cancer treatment is to start selling meth. And because he's a chemistry teacher, he makes the best meth around. He employs an old student of his who sells drugs himself, Jesse Pinkman. And season 2, they've really hit their stride. They made a big batch of meth, and they're looking for a new distributor to unload it. And this episode is where it all comes together. Walter White, who's the teacher, gets the call from the distributor. Hey, bring what you have to this location, and we'll give you millions of dollars. So Walter White gets the call. Meanwhile, Jesse Pinkman sliding back into drug addiction, going out with his neighbor. His new girlfriend is his neighbor, and she introduces him to heroin. So while they are both passed out from their heroin high, kind of fucked up, they just shot up their heroin and they're laying down in bed. Walter White's trying to call Jesse. He ends up going to his house and he's bashing on the door. It's a very intense scene. And meanwhile, this is the moment this episode is the episode where I'm feeling every cell in my body vibrate because the edible has kicked in. Like, I can't explain. It's hard to explain necessarily, but it feels like if you've never done an edible, especially like a high dose edible, it is a completely different experience from just being high. I enjoy it. It's a roller coaster. It's an experience. So I'm taking this edible. It's kicking in. Every cell in my body is vibrating. My brain is implanted into these actors and these characters who are like in an intense situation. And in this episode, Walter White has to go to Pinkman's apartment. He breaks in through the back door because nobody's answering the front door. He's not answering his phone. And Walter White needs to get this meth to this location so they can get paid. And it's not only for this one deal. They're trying to set up a relationship with this distributor through El Pollos Hermanos, and he needs to do it right, and he needs to do it now. And so he breaks in, and when he breaks in, he sees Jesse passed out. He sees all the needles. He sees what's going on, and he's pissed. But Walter White has no time for this shit. Walter White has no time for this shit. The most important thing is that he's getting the meth. So in this moment, he's breaking in, and I know what's happening. If you've seen the show, you know what's going to happen. This is the scene where Jesse Pinkman's girlfriend rolls onto her back and starts to throw up in her heroin high. And there's a scene earlier in the episode where, you know, she first introduces Jesse and he lays down. She's like, no, lay on your side. You'll die if you'll choke on your vomit if you start throwing up. And she starts to throw up. And because earlier in the episode, she's blackmailing Walter White. Walter White doesn't want to give Jesse the money because he knows that he's just going to kill himself on the heroin. So he's holding the money for Jesse. His girlfriend finds out, decides to call Walter White and try to blackmail him, but they don't care. Walter White doesn't care at this moment. He's just trying to get the weed. Get the meth. And it's almost a situation where he is watching a problem die in front of him, right? And it's sad. It's sad because Walter White doesn't kill her, but doesn't save her. So it's a weird kind of moral conundrum kind of a thing. I mean, clearly it's a bad thing. You should save somebody that's about to die. But for him, so this scene is happening. He breaks into Pinkman's thing. He's trying to wake Pinkman up. Where are the fucking meth? Pinkman tells him it's under the sink in the kitchen. But meanwhile, the problem's dying. And in this scene, I am every single character in this scene. I am the girlfriend. I am Jesse's girlfriend who is dying because this edible has just kicked in. Like, I am blasting off to Mars. It is going to take weeks before I get there, but I'm going fast. It's going to be crazy. But like every cell in my body, I just feel like death. I feel like I'm dying. Right? I know I'm not dying because weed doesn't kill people, but I feel like I'm dying. I also feel like Jesse Pinkman because I'm completely out of it. Like if Walter White showed up at my place while that edible was kicking in, I would be freaking out. I would just be freaking out, and it would be. But I'm also Walter White because I'm freaking out because he knows he has to get this meth in time, and you know his problem's dying, and his partner's high as fuck, and it's just. It was the most, like, that's why I love edibles, because it puts you, like Captain Phillips, it puts you in that moment, and you feel all the emotions. You feel the stress, and you feel, it's like an emotional, like one of the craziest rides you will ever have, being on a high-dose edible, watching something intense, like Breaking Bad Season 2, Episode 12. But yeah. He ends up getting the meth. He ends up doing the deal. Also, during that time, he finds out that his wife is giving birth to their second child. And it's an extremely insane, intense episode. Like, it's really bummer. It's a bummer episode in a lot of ways. Like a lot of bad things are happening to everybody. But it was, as far as a scene that can happen while an edible is kicking in, it was ridiculous. I had to lay down. I wasn't feeling good. I had to lay down. And then for like 2 days, I was just the most calm I have ever been Definitely exhausted the next day. There was a bit of a edible hangover, but just a great kind of a moment watching Breaking Bad season 2, episode 12. Watching, and I knew what was coming. I'm rewatching the whole series, and I see I'm like this. It was crazy. It was crazy. But that's it for this episode. New episodes of the Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go buy my artwork over at InspiredDisorder.com and save 25% when you use coupon code RTS. Follow me on social media at Ray Taylor. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out.